Come in, boy.
Hey,
Yes, come in. Come in.
Oh, wow.
Oh, come in. Let me get a closer look at you. Come in, yes.
Oh,
Sit down. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Very good. I'm glad you're here. I need your help, son. Will you help this old man?
I'll help as much as I can.
Very good. That's good enough for me.
I think I got the ember in me.
Very good. You have the spark in you, child. Yes. Yes, I'm old.
You're old. You are old. You got
Now the manners, child. Manners, please.
hair on your face. It's white.
I mean, so do you, but I don't point it out. Boy, I need your help. Seriously.
What can I do to help?
I need help to do this show.
I can do that. What do I need to do to help you?
Slow down, boy. That's the problem with your generation. Look at the studio.
I see it.
This could all be yours.
All mine?
All yours, boy, yes. This is good for an audio medium, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, people can't see you, but I'm sure they'll get the idea.
I can imagine. It's good for the kids, yes. But before you can do anything, say my name, boy. Say my name, and my powers in this studio will flow through you.
Shazam?
Shazam!
Shazam!
That was worth it.
All right. Yeah, that was pretty good.
All right.
I'm glad you went through all the effort of getting that beard. And that's going to be a great sexy Santa costume.
I was thinking long term. On with the show?
On with the show. You gonna keep that on the whole time?
Like you even have to ask. Welcome back, everybody, to Comrades, Cocktails, and Comics, the show where we get together, we drink together, but more importantly, we read together. My name's Snoop Lynch. My co-host, he's right here. His name, Higgins Sturm. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be back. A month. It's almost too long, but just short enough.
Higgins, it's only been what, like 4 episodes, and we've come so far.
I think we're on 3. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, this is 3, isn't it?
It's confusing. Our last episode was number 2.
Well, that's fine, because then we've gotten so much farther in even less time than I thought.
But our theme was 3.
Callback.
But Higgins, hope you listened to our previous 2 episodes.
See, I got you going now. But Higgins, all that aside, we did the bit. I got my beard on. We're ready to talk about Shazam because the movie's on its way. By the time you listen to this, guys, the movie will probably already be here. You might be watching it right now while you're listening to this.
You might be, unless you're a super fan and you're listening to it way ahead of the movie.
Day one.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that is. Whenever I get to edit it and release it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we figured since the movie's right around the corner, and it's going to cover a lot of ground from the New 52 run.
Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully it looks pretty fun, at least.
It looks funny. I like Zachary Levi.
I do too, yeah. He's good people. But that particular story takes a lot, apparently, from the New 52 run. So we thought we'd just read that for this next one and give our thoughts about it. See what's going to like spoil for the movie, but also if we like what we see in that and if we want to see that in the movie.
And from what I've seen, it might be heavy spoilers, but spoilers are fun.
I think it'll be a mix of it'll spoil some stuff, or this will spoil some stuff for the movie, but also they'll take some liberties and try some new things.
Yeah.
You never know in the world of film, you know? But that's not what we don't talk about that here. We're talking about books here.
Books. We read and look at pictures.
Mostly that last part. So yeah, New 52 run Shazam, written by Jeff Johns, art by Gary Frank, back in 2012, 2013, I think is when it started.
2013.
It's kind of hard to peg because it wasn't its own story. It came out over time as part of like
Justice League issues. And I tried to read it through the Justice League issues and it was a pain in the butt. But I found this nice little one-shot run of it and it puts it together pretty good.
Yeah, they since collected all those all that back matter and put it into one volume you can buy and just knock out and pretty quickly. It's not a long read. I think you mentioned this before we recorded. Out of everything we've read so far, it's a bit on the duller side.
Yeah, it's an origin story, and as origin stories normally are, they're kind of boring.
Yeah, I see, and that's I think it's just over time with like the oversaturation of origin stories we've had in film.
We just get tired of seeing the same kind of deal over and over again. Like, oh, I'm this person without powers, and now I have powers. What am I gonna do?
Probably save the day.
Yeah, probably save the day.
Yeah. But there's some good stuff in this, I think, and we'll probably get into that and what we liked, what we didn't like. Now, have you read a lot about Shazam before now?
I mean, I know he used to be called Captain Marvel, and like Marvel got mad at him for that, and then stuff like that. And he's magic.
He is magic. Yeah, he's got a lot of magic in him, a lot of heart. Yeah. So for me, I like Shazam as a character a lot, but honestly, like Shazam's history in comics is what makes him really interesting, just because of the namesake and what it's led to. So he was originally created by Fawcett Comics back in the ye old days of 1939.
Back in the old days. That's why you got such a long beard.
Higgins, I've been waiting forever to talk about this book. This beard is getting in my eyes constantly, but it's for the show. People are going to love it.
People are going to love it.
People are going to love to listen to the sound of this beard. But yeah, he was originally created by Bill Parker and C.C. Beck and debuted in Whiz Comics #2 in December 1939, published by Fawcett Comics. And they had him from 1939 all the way to 1953.
Wow.
Yeah.
As Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah, originally he was Captain Marvel, but he still said Shazam because everyone knows, I think
that's what the letters stand for. It's like each letter stands for a certain god.
Shazam's an acronym, so he was imbued with the power of like the elder gods. So Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and then Mercury.
I'm glad you knew those ones because I would not have been able to get it.
Well, Higgins, you'd be surprised what you know if you write something down.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I got pictures in front of me. I knew it was wrote by Jeff Johns.
So I should let you have that note.
Yeah.
Sorry, next time. But yeah, he says the word Shazam. He gets the powers of all those gods imbued in him, and he saves the day. Really cool guy. And the whole point of him is he's a kid on the inside, so he's got the spirit of a kid and the heart of a kid doing some good superhero stuff. And I think it's what makes Shazam kind of like. I think it's what makes him stick around as well in people's minds as he does. He's a pure character.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
And they kind of change. The thing is about this book, because of the issue with the name, so DC Comics sued Fawcett. I think back then they were still Timely Comics, but they sued Fawcett Comics because basically they said Shazam's a ripoff of Superman. And nowadays we would laugh at something like that because every superhero's a ripoff of another superhero.
Yeah, and Shazam's better than Superman, to be fair.
Wow, those are fighting words, Higgins, but I kind of agree with you. I think the main thing that really made him go for it is around the 40s in particular, Shazam was the #1 comic selling.
They were stealing his thunder.
They really were.
Or lightning.
He had both.
I should say.
DC didn't like it, so they were able to sue. And because of that, Fawcett had to cease publication of Shazam comics in 1953.
And then DC just picked him back up?
It took a while. I actually didn't know this, but in 1972, I believe, DC licensed the character back from Fawcett. So after they sued them and told them they couldn't make any more money off that character, they gave them some money for the rights to use that character in their comics.
Now we're going to use this guy. Here's like 32 hay pennies. Because that's how much stuff cost back in like 1972, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You could buy so many railroads. But they started using the character. The problem, though, is now you have Marvel coming in. See, by then, Marvel had created the character Captain Marvel. And the only reason they did that is because there were no more Captain Marvel comics by Fawcett Comics. So then they trademarked the name Captain Marvel for the characters we know, like Carol Danvers, but originally before that, Marvel. And so
Captain Marvel? From that other movie.
Yeah, the one that just came out.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's okay. It's got a good message or something. I don't know.
I don't know, women.
Standing up when you get knocked down.
Yeah.
It's important. Brushing your beard every day.
Every day.
But yeah, so there was an issue where because they trademarked the name, DC could use Captain Marvel's name in the interior of the comic book, but the cover, they had to name something different. And that's when they started putting Shazam as the cover of the comic book. Oh. So then you flash forward to 2011, where they were bringing stuff back. It's time for a new, fresh, edgy reboot with the New 52. Everybody's getting a new origin story. Well, they wanted to bring Shazam back, Jeff Johns in particular. So they used that as an opportunity to just rename the character himself Shazam. And that's kind of where the controversy of this particular story comes in at, is because you have a lot of old-time fans who have stayed with Shazam, from whenever they were kids.
And who cares about those guys?
Well, Jeff Johns obviously didn't. His reasoning for doing this is because basically he argued the mainstream audience all thought that was his name anyway. Because again, it all comes back to the issues of the lawsuits. So Shazam's on the cover of the comic book. So yeah, most people who don't really care about comics but see it pop up every now and again would go, well, that's obviously his name.
This is a Shazam book.
So yeah, he just went ahead and decided to do it. And I also think the reason is too is because, you know, you mentioned the movie's about to come out later in the next couple of weeks.
And it'd be real confusing if there was 2 Captain Marvel movies coming out at the same time.
That'd be so weird, wouldn't it?
And they were like not even the same person.
Yeah, people wouldn't follow that well because we're dummies, Higgins.
We are dummies, and the Hollywood likes to tell us that
over and over again. So yeah, he was actually so this movie, the Shazam movie, the DC Shazam movie, that's actually been on like in the works forever. And Jeff Johns became a consultant for that film in 2009. So when he got a chance to write the story, I guess he kind of wanted to work it in now so the movie wouldn't confuse people if they called it, you know, Captain Marvel or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he got called Captain Marvel in the movie. And the way that like film rights and book rights and all that work, I don't even know if they could call him Captain Marvel in a film. I don't know how that works. But needless to say, that's what makes this book important as far as for the character is from now on, at least until someone else decides they want to change it back, he's Shazam and Shazam only.
I love Shazam.
I like Shazam too. He's a really good character. And there's a bunch of other changes in this book that people like and dislike. I'm kind of in the middle myself. Like there's certain changes I like in this story.
Yeah.
And certain ones that are just kind of... See, the problem with this story, I think, comes from... It's from the New 52 era, which...
Everything's super edgy.
It's so edgy and so
like
cool.
Super, like this... The art, per se, is like super typical comic booky, like real dark blacks.
Yeah, it's real house style. Like
just nothing spectacular, but like still good.
The character designs are interesting, I think, but yeah, it doesn't really have the artist doesn't have. Gary Frank's a good artist, and I think for other books, he's more suited for him, like more grounded books.
Yeah,
because they worked on Batman Earth 1 together, he and Jeff Johns, and more recently...
somewhere.
Yeah, and more recently they're doing Doomsday Clock when an issue comes out every 18 years, and it's pretty good. But for Shazam, when I think Shazam, I think weird and wacky and magical and fun, and this isn't really fun for me.
I don't know, the tail end's kind of fun.
It gets a lot better towards the end, yeah. But yeah, I like this book overall. I don't think it's the best. And
it's my least favorite of our 3 episodes, but we got a lot more episodes. I'm sure there's a good bit shittier comic out there that we're going to read.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
I can't wait for that one. We're going to tear it to pieces.
I can't wait for what ridiculous wig I have to buy for that. Do you know it was really hard to find a cheap wig and beard? Even this was $8.
$8?
Well spent, in my opinion.
Well spent.
I guess we can go into the story a little bit, because that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Kiker has a question. Kiker's in the background, by the way. He wants a drink. Get him a drink.
Yeah, grab it.
Higgins, we haven't even talked about our drink. That's half the show.
Yeah, okay. So, like, lightning, Shazam, he has lightning. If you don't know, we haven't talked about it yet. So we got this drink called Dark and Stormy. That's an N with, like, an apostrophe on both sides, because it's, like, and. But fancier.
I don't know what you're doing with your fingers.
Dark and Stormy. Two like apostrophes on either side. Those are apostrophes.
All these bits are great for podcasts.
Yeah, okay. But fingers are moving on either side of this mic. You can tell if I do this.
Don't do that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, Dark and Stormy. It's not hard. It's our manliest drink yet.
It's a lot simpler than what we made last year or last month, week, last episode.
Day.
What are you throwing here? You throwing a little bit of dark rum?
Yeah, dark rum. What do we got? The Goslings.
We went all out. We got Ryan Gosling's Black Seal Dark Rum.
Well, good. I'm glad he's sponsoring this episode.
Me too.
And then just whatever ginger beer you got lying around. We happened to get some Gosling's ginger beer and also a Cock and Bull. Also got the 2 apostrophes on either side of that N in Cock and Bull too.
Doing the thing with your fingers again.
Yeah, they know.
It's fine. And as far as the mixes go, I think we just kind of do whatever.
Yeah, we poured an amount, and then we poured a little bit more ginger beer. With a splash of lime juice if you're feeling frisky.
Oh, did we put
lime
juice?
We always feel frisky here.
I don't know. I didn't put any lime juice in this one.
On C3.
Oh, I'm not that frisky. Where's the lime juice at?
Oh, I sprayed you. Don't worry. I sprayed you. I got you.
Is that what that smell was?
That was it.
Very good.
Don't worry. I hooked you up.
Get you guys a couple of those in you, because we already got a couple of them in us, and then read the story. And let's just get into it.
It's
Higgins.
it's way better than we're making it sound, by the way. Like,
We're being a bit harsh, aren't we?
yeah, just because it's the worst one we've read so far.
It's because we're such big Shazam fans that, our standards are high.
Yeah.
And this didn't necessarily meet them.
That being said, the first like couple pages are pretty tight. Like when we just see this random guy like hopping and skipping, doing some nice things for some people, flicking a quarter over there to a homeless guy just walking down the street with a smile.
Yeah.
And then like he comes down and sees Bearded Man himself, Snoop, over there, the magic wizard, and he's like, "You're not good enough to be Shazam. You're not pure enough." And then you see this screen full of other people that are like saying like, "We saw this old guy too, and we don't know how we got there, but magic."
Yeah, what I like about that scene, and I didn't really pick up on it at first, is the point of it is to show that Shazam
has tried a lot.
He's looking for someone to take on the mantle of the living Lightning, the champion, the new Shazam. But even this guy, the guy we're first introduced to, he's hopping and skipping, flicking a coin to a homeless man,
holding open a door for a lovely lady.
Like he's doing what we consider to be good deeds. But even then, that's not the pure of heart person that
pure good
deserves the power. And I think it's the importance that Jeff Johns is trying to get through with this new telling of the story is anybody can be given the power of Shazam, but who deserves it?
Who's going to take that power and not turn into your bad guy?
Who is going to get this stray hair out of my eye from my hair?
Hopefully Shazam.
Oh, gosh.
Or Black Adam.
I don't want him to do it. He's a bad bloke. But yeah, I do like that bit a lot. And like I said, it's very subtle in how it kind of introduces you to what the story's going to be about. And then it's a hard cut to
our boy Dr. Sivana, too.
I don't know. See, I haven't read a lot of Shazam prior to the New 52 stuff, or they're doing they've taken this story and they've picked it back up with the Rebirth stuff. Like it's just a continuation where this ends kind of thing. But as far as before that, I've only read one or two, and Dr. Sivana is kind of the main villain in both ones I've read. He's an interesting villain, but this makes him more sympathetic than
anti-hero type stuff.
Yeah, because he's
doing it for his family.
Yeah, he says he's looking for magic because it can help his family where science failed. And
he's looked through every possible scientific aspect of how to cure his family's illness, and it has led him astray. And now he's found some magic, and he's like, "I'm gonna get my family the cure."
And he's the one who kind of kicks off the whole events of the story. And when we get to Billy Batson, I think that's where a lot of people kind of jump off board with this story, because Billy Batson, up until this point as a character, his upbringing's sort of similar. So, he's still a homeless kid.
Yeah.
But it's his personality that's the big change here.
He's kind of a dick.
He's a real prick, isn't he? Yeah. He's basically, because it's such an odd turn the way they do it in this book, because
I do like how they show it, because like he's acting like your typical like goody two shoes foster kid that's down on his luck.
Yeah.
And then you see it like a snap of your fingers, and he's like kind of shitty.
Yeah, he's got it down to an art form, this performance he's doing. And I think what Jeff Johns wants to do with this story is, again, show who deserves it. Not so much what they do on the surface, but who they are deep down and kind of the potential they show to be good.
And honestly, I get that, because like the same thing, and we'll get to it, but the pure good stuff, like nobody's pure good, like they say. So like finding someone that's got the embers like I had earlier to help you with this podcast.
Oh, God, I would have been lost without you. Thank you. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. That being said, he's a real dickhead.
He's a real dickhead, but he puts on that act and he gets to get with his family, and we're going to get to see some sweet things because of it.
There is that kind of like that ray of hope in other characters, specifically the Foster family.
Darla, what a sweetie.
Just a gem, isn't she?
Well, should we tell him about him?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how'd you feel about the kids in particular? How you feel about them?
I mean, Eugene's kind of a know-it-all jerk. Pedro's quiet and awesome. Mary's
she's just kind of there, isn't she?
Well, she's just like the goody two-shoes, like always good at everything girl.
Follows the rules.
Freddy's pretty funny and kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Freddy has the most depth out of all of them.
And then Darla's a sweetie.
I like this family because the Shazam family is not a concept that's new to the lore, but parts of this are new. So in the original stories, Freddy and Mary, they've been around. Like they were actually around during Shazam's run while he was with Fawcett Comics. and they
Okay.
become like Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel because they get the powers of Shazam in some way. A little different than what they'll do here. But the new kids, Pedro, Eugene, and Darla, they actually are pretty recent additions to DC. And I didn't know that until I started looking into this, because they're actually... Have you read Flashpoint?
No, I haven't read it.
Do you know?
It's on the list. I know what it is. Multi-universes, Flash went back in time, stuff like that.
Yeah, he mucked up real good. Yeah,
he messed everything up.
So in that story, there is a version of these kids where how it works over there in that universe is they say Shazam in unison, and they all become Captain Thunder, I think is his name, which is a
So like a Captain Planet type deal?
In a way, yeah. But more like he wants to rip everyone's heads off and kill Wonder Woman or something.
So he's not a good guy.
No, but he does love the environment just as much as Captain Planet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Did you see that Don Cheadle thing with Captain Planet? It was a hoot.
It goes on a little long,
Watch
though.
that, guys.
It's really good, yeah. But yeah, so those kids were created for that bit in Flashpoint, which was also written by Jeff Johns. So I guess he decided he liked those characters, and he brought them over into this and then changed their origins a little bit, where they're their own characters and they eventually get to do something with the powers themselves. And I thought that was kind of neat, because Jeff Johns, as a writer of DC, he's one of their heavy hitters as far as bringing in kind of new stories that stick.
I love Jeff Johns.
I do too.
He does the Green Lantern stuff, and Green Lantern's my favorite DC, especially new stuff. Anything Green Lanterns is usually pretty tight.
Well, if you love him so much, Higgins, why don't you marry him?
I already did. I mean, we were laying around. It was more just a sex thing, but... And I got out of there quick.
That does sound like you. But yeah, I like these. Like you, I like I like the family a lot. And it's kind of the best part of this book, because it's the only thing that makes Billy kind of go back to the Billy most people like and know.
Especially Freddy, who you said's been like a long-running character. He brings Billy down a peg, something serious, because he gives him his same old shit right back to him. And I think that drops him from being the jerk that he has been like for a while there.
It helps him warm up, because he doesn't... Mary in particular, he doesn't see eye to eye with at all.
Mary doesn't put up with his shit.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting dynamic that'll be explored later on in this new run, because I've been reading that new run, and they kind of work with her a little bit more to make her more interesting and explain why she is the way she is. But with Freddy, it's kind of instant. Like, it seems like they come from similar upbringings.
Yeah.
And so they act out in similar ways, and that's why Billy's kind of more inclined to, hear what he has to say and go along with him. Because, just like any good kids, they bond over getting back at other kids who are mean to him.
Yeah. Those dumb old rich kids. Because that's what happens at the old school. But right before school, you see old Billy meet the old tigre.
Oh, talking about the tiger?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Spanish. I don't know if you know that Spanish words. El tigre.
I know now.
Don't worry. I got you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, Tawny the Tiger's a little different in this.
He's a tiger.
But he don't talk no more.
Well...
Higgins, he gotta talk.
Well...
He's Tawny the talking tiger.
Well, he'll get there.
Don't defend them. He needs to talk. Kiker, yes or no? Does he need to talk?
The version I saw had a suit on.
He pulls a thing out of his backpack, and it shows the original Tawny Tiger with like a suit and a fedora and shit like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, but he's like pulling this like comic book thing out, and it's got like the old school Tawny Tiger on it.
Oh, they're having a bit of a wink
and
and a nod.
And then he pulls out his like family picture, and it's this tiger like behind his parents, and that's the one that we see throughout this comic.
I guess that's just kind of a nod to the past stuff, but yeah, make that tiger talk. That's all I want. That's all I need.
But yeah, they go to school the next day. And like I said, Freddie Freeman, heck of a guy, the real troublemaker.
Oh, he's swindling.
I like the
people.
nod to Shawshank Redemption, where he's like, my name's Freddie Freeman, but I'm more of a Morgan Freeman type character in this. I can get you what you need.
I knew you'd like that bit. That's your favorite movie.
It's my second favorite movie.
Excuse me.
Forrest Gump, number one.
People have turned on Forrest Gump in years.
It's good.
It's still pretty good, I think.
A1. My favorite part was because he gets like doctor's notes and hall passes and test scores and test answers for people, and he gave that kid that doctor's note that said this guy had endometriosis, which is like a strictly women's disease.
Oh yeah. He's not shy about picking fights with people he doesn't really like that much, or just having a bit of a laugh, which is nice, because like that character, I don't know if that character before had whatever he's got going on with him where he needs a like
cerebral palsy.
I guess it'd be cerebral
Something
palsy.
like
Yeah,
that. That's what your typical what it looks like.
yeah. That's a good thing about Freddy is he doesn't let it slow him down at all. Like he's just a normal, kind of a asshole kid. It does come back to bite him a couple times though, but I think that's to show that again, Billy might be a prick most of the time, but if you put someone in danger, he'll step up and do what needs to be done to help him out.
Even when those dang Briar kids start beating up on the fam, which apparently happens like a lot.
It's
like they just like every day at school, they just like just mess with this family of foster kids.
It seems like it's from that era of like, why aren't teachers or adults more involved when all these kids are beating the shit out of each other for no reason?
It's because they're rich.
I guess so. I like, and I guess Jeff Johns likes that bit too of kind of Billy
standing up for his new family.
Well, it's not even that, because he's still kind of jaded about being around people.
Yeah.
But I think he says this at one point. It's very Captain America-like, where he says
he doesn't like bullies.
He doesn't like bullies. He's like, I don't really, I don't care that much about you, but I'm not going to watch while someone else gets hurt, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
that's his embers, Snoop.
It's just flaring up at the best of times. And it is good. It's very, like you said, it's very like stock standard origin stuff of. It is just kind of like, yeah, I get it. But, it's fine. Like, it's done well enough.
Yeah.
And I guess, the wizard thought that too, because after that is where he ends up in the subway and then the Rock of Eternity.
There's the whole, like, part where we meet Black Adam and Dr. Savannah gets his, like, magic.
Oh, you want to get into that a little bit?
Well, that was what's next. Don't worry, I'm scrolling through the whole comic as we go along.
I appreciate you keeping me on track.
That way we know where we're at.
I think it's in my old age. It's hard to remember things these
days. Man. You gave me all the power.
Put it in good hands, clearly. He's got notes.
Like, he found some, like, book with Black Adam stuff, and he's searching through a temple, and then for some reason the door shocks him and gives him a magic eye.
So, what I like about this is, as far as the magic in the DC universe, in this particular part of it, I like that it's clearly been around.
Yeah, for like a long time.
And it was pretty much open to everybody, but it was then shut off by the wizards in the Rock of Eternity. But there's still like echoes of it and rumors of it and stories, because that's what links to Black Adam's origin, we find out. And also that's why Dr. Savannah even knows about magic, it seems like, is because he heard of the legend of Black Adam.
Yeah, not even Shazam.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense from a narrative standpoint, why he's able to stumble upon a little bit of it and it gets imbued in his eye. I knew that was his thing, is that his eye's all wonky because it lets him see the magic in the world.
He's got that lightning bolt scar across it.
Mm-hmm. Got a little bit of that lightning in him. A little bit of that spark, Higgins, just poked right over. This is kind of where, for me, where Gary Frank's art does shine.
Oh, yeah. The picture of what's-his-face, Savannah, like with the magic for the first time, that's a really tight, like, full page.
Well, not even that, but like the Black Adam reveal where they release him is really good. Like the costume designs on this are pretty impressive. A lot of this is grounded, but when you do get to see kind of this crazy side of it, where there's lightning and colorful costumes and all this and that, like it does look good. It's not as good as I think some people could do it. Like, as far as I think other artists are better at going weirder. But
like I said, it's your standard comic book drawings.
Very serviceable, yeah, for sure. I just think he's more suited to even more suited to like a Batman type story.
Yeah, definitely Batman. He throws a lot of dark, like, blacks and stuff in there.
Absolutely. Well, that wouldn't be him, Higgins. That'd be the colorist. You haven't learned that part yet. You haven't inherited that part yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's fine. You'll get there.
How crazy was it when Black Adam just murks that guy for not speaking his language?
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he? Just immediately kills him.
He's like, you don't.
Well, Higgins, they just got to prove how gritty and real and cool this is, Just zaps him real good. It's fine.
I bet he's real mad when, like, he's listening to like one of those telecommunicator people, and they're like, press 1 for English and then press 2 for Kandakian. And he's like, why is English even on here?
He had the option to take it in college, and he's like, when will I ever need this? Came back to bite him. But yeah, the Black Adam stuff is interesting. I don't know a huge amount of. I know his whole thing is he loves the country of Kandak, and that's all he cares about. But I didn't really. I don't know kind of the origins of his powers and everything
until now.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this beard off. It's getting real itchy.
All right, do you want to make another drink while we're at it?
Yeah, let me. Shazam!
I didn't know it was a 2-piecer.
That's why it's so hard to find. All right, Higgins, we got drinks. I'm nice and clean shaven.
Oh,
After saying the magic word,
what kinda?
you're saying I can use a little bit more, a bit of a touch up.
Yeah,
All right, well, shave me later.
but always.
So yeah, what are we talking about? You have notes. What are we doing?
We're talking about Shazam.
That's right.
You've been here this time, right? This whole time, right?
Yeah, how's that going?
Okay, well, we're talking about Shazam.
Very good. What are we talking about specifically?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Billy's getting his powers now. We talked about Black Adam coming back. He exploded. He killed the guy.
He did a thing. It's fine.
And now Billy Batson's getting his powers.
He's getting his due. Yeah, I find this particular bit really funny, just because I know people hate this story because Billy's just kind of a cynical dickhead, but the Wizard's way worse.
Yeah.
And I find it really funny.
He's like, oh, we got this guy.
Yeah, you could tell he's like real desperate.
He's like, man, this kid, Andy's a dick.
Yeah, because I mean, generally the Wizard's like, hey, you're a good fit. Let's do this. I'm dead. Move on, kind of thing. Or sometimes he's not dead, but in this, he's been trying to find, the perfect champion after Black Adam didn't work out. We've seen videos of hundreds of people who are at face value, yeah, probably a better fit. And then he's also got other stuff in the Rock of Eternity, kind of like he's got the Mirror Lady and a couple other things. And
yeah, I don't know what they all are.
I don't know a lot about that, but she's like, yeah, this kid's pretty good. Give him a chance.
I did like her, Francesca.
Yeah.
She's got a name, Snoop.
Sorry, I
She
just
likes to mention
Higgins, if
that.
I name her, I'll get too attached to her, and that you know how that works out. But yeah, I like how the only reason Billy's there initially is because they kind of bring him in, and he's not on board at all. Like because also too how Billy just responds to him. He thinks he's insane, and so obviously they don't really see eye to eye in that initial meeting. But I think it's a mix of he does believe there's potential in Billy to again be that hero of pure heart, and he can be responsible with the power. But also,
he doesn't have time to find someone else.
No, because not only is he dying, and he's the only one left.
But Black Adam's back now.
He's black, and he's black, and he's back.
He's back, and he's black.
That's what I always say. But yeah, he's like, well, we got to get the show on the road. Say the word. Let's move on.
And he's like, Shazam? Question mark.
And
then he was like, Shazam! Exclamation point.
Yeah,
that's when he turned into the big guy.
Exactly, because this is, and I guess this comes from renaming him, because originally when he was Captain Marvel, the word was Shazam. It doesn't matter how he says it.
It changes him each time he says it.
Yeah, you say the word, you transform. So with this, it being his new name, I guess they kind of wanted to add a loophole where you have to say it like you mean it.
It's more of like a magic spell. It puts the magic emphasis on it more than anything. The Leviosa. You got to say it right. Hermione knows.
Not many people are going to get that reference, but all right.
So many people read Harry Potter. Especially people who read comic books. I feel like our Venn diagram is basically a circle at this point.
Right in the middle. Smack dab. I thought you were talking about the YouTube video, to be fair. Don't look that up. Anyway, Kiker likes it. Anyway, yeah, you have to say it like you mean it. And I don't really like that much, just because I think there's funnier stuff to do with it when he just can't say his name all the time. And I think they're actually, so I think they're bringing that back, because in the first issue of the new series that picks up from this, he says a line basically, they ask him what's his name, and he's like, well, I have trouble saying my name these days. So I think they're starting to retcon that.
Yeah.
But as far as this goes, yeah, it's fine. But when he transforms and everything, like, this is pretty much how the movie's gonna go.
Yeah, it looks exactly like that's the main thing. I've seen the trailers. I've seen like him as Shazam hanging out with his foster brother, doing what a kid would do if he was a superhero, basically.
There's a line ripped straight from the comics in the trailer where he goes to Freddy and he's like, it's me, Billy, or whatever. Like, that is word for word from this story. So I think, yeah, if you haven't read this and for whatever reason you're still listening to us and you don't want to be spoiled by the movie, this might not be the best thing to read before going in. If you do want to know more about the character and kind of get a feel for him before you go see the movie, then yeah, you probably should read this, if any story. But yeah, if you want to go in with a fresh head, maybe not, because it looks like, I don't know. I'll probably talk about what I think is going to happen with that movie, and then I'll come back next month and talk about how I was wrong. But I don't know. I'll get to that later.
But we get a lot of fun scenes with them. Like I said, him being a kid in a superhero's body. He's lifting cars. He's breaking cars.
stealing money.
He helps this lady out, and then he's like, well, I'm a kid. I don't have any money, so I could use a crisp 20.
Yeah, but before that, they're literally trying to break into an ATM.
Well, that was after that. They were like, you can open it. You got magic.
Yeah, it's coming back to this theme of don't take someone at face value just because they seem bad. Because that's the thing is with most, like the adults in particular, besides the foster parents, like people look at Billy and they look at his record and everything. They see he's getting into fights and they just see a bad kid. And I guess we're meant to see that too because of kind of what he does, what he wants to do. But when it comes down to it, there's like 3 crimes back to back that he kind of stumbles upon and stops.
Yeah, and they talk about that. That's his, like, along with his magic, like, part of his magic thing is, as a magical superhero, he happens upon crimes.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, that's a shitty power. But, like, our girl Francesca's like, actually, it's not, like, that bad of a power for, like, a superhero.
I mean, it makes you pretty cool if you ask me, she says, and they say, shut up, Francesca.
Yeah, get back in that mirror.
Yeah, show me my reflection for once.
And I'll give you 7 years of bad luck.
Very good. But yeah, I like it's this stuff. See, Shazam's power set, it is essentially a lot of Superman stuff. Like he flies, he's strong, he's fast, whatever. It's what Shazam stands for that makes me like him as a character. And adding that in is kind of a fun thing of where he's drawn to bad people so he can stop them for that reason.
He's a kid and he's doing dumb stuff like we were saying, the ATM and all that stuff, but he's also, like, as a superhero, he's coming at it from a different frame of mind than Superman, Wonder Woman, who've been through years worth of, like, life and stuff.
And I think that's the big part of Shazam as well in a bigger DC universe is I like this bit too because it's taking that bond that he's kind of started with Freddy, because Freddy is the person he confides to after he gets the powers. He's like, look what happened to me. What do you think of that?
What do you think of that?
He
and
thinks
he's pretty cool with it from the start.
He likes it. Yeah, that's right. I think he's going to like it more in this movie, it looks like. But yeah, so they kind of bond over that. And that's cool because Billy's whole thing is that he doesn't like people, but this is giving him an opportunity to kind of warm up to someone and give them a chance. And like that's the good part of the story that I think Jeff Johns really nails is, and I think it's what he's mainly going for anyway, is kind of this idea of bonds and forming relationships with people. Family, yeah.
One of my favorite lines, and I'm not going to be able to tell you what it is right now, but like family's where you feel at home rather than like family's like who you're born to.
Home's where your heart is what you're saying. Yeah.
Speaking of bad people like we were earlier, Black Adam's back and he's not happy with New York's where are we at?
Philadelphia,
okay. He's not happy with these people. He murks that pharaoh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because that was
the most gruesome shit I've ever seen in like a comic.
I forgot about that actually. Yeah,
he drops him off like a good 40-story building.
Well, it's kind of like that fish out of water situation where he's been asleep or sealed away for centuries, and he comes back and his mission's still the same. He hates people who oppress other people. Yeah, so he's like, well, I've got these powers. Let me just murder them and then that'll solve that. Yeah. And so, yeah, he drops that guy out of like a 50-story window. And
then he starts his more evil deeds.
Yeah, well, so this is the only part I don't really care about is where...
The 7 sins?
The 7 sins. So...
Yeah, I could live without them.
You don't need them in the story, I don't think, because they don't really add anything to it, and we don't get any...
Even a good fight out of them either.
Well, I think the issue here is we know Black Adam wants them to basically help him,
take over.
Or clean the world and start over. But why them? Why can't he just do it himself? And also, because apparently Black Adam, when he was the champion... sealed them away,
yeah.
And so he wakes them up one by one or whatever, but we only get to see him wake up
Sloth.
The Sin of Sloth, but past that we don't explore any of the other ones besides like here they are, they're here to cause
we got them now.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, we got them. Dr. Sivana's been busy. But yeah, I mean, we're skipping over a lot of stuff. We want you to read it, so we're not trying to spoil too much.
Higgins, we're giving him a little taste.
Yeah,
like just a little.
We get a good Black Adam Shazam fight after we see Sloth. Billy gets scared. He's a kid. Like, it's his first big fight.
It's his first big fight with the first big bad guy.
Yeah, and he escapes.
That scene's important to me because Freddy and him have a fight, basically saying, he doesn't want to go back because he's an adult now. He doesn't need anybody but himself. and he thinks that by being in that form, he's safe. But then Black Adam shows up, beats his ass pretty easily, and yeah, he's a scared kid, so he does transform back so he can run away. Because Black Adam can't track him unless he's in that form, it seems like.
They're not connected. It's connected to the lightning or whatever. Sacred lightning or
The living
something.
lightning.
Living lightning, that's it.
Yeah, and so this is what makes Billy an interesting character is he can't move forward if he doesn't kind of like learn to embrace not only the responsibility he's been given, but also the family he's been given.
Yeah.
And what's also good about that too, we haven't mentioned a lot about the family besides, who they are and that we all love Darla. It's all agreed.
Oh, she's a sweetie.
Just a gem. But he had a fight with most of them before when he first got there because he showed his true colors. He's like,
I'm not your family.
He made Darla cry.
Yeah, she was fine.
A monster.
Yeah.
But that being said, when they saw, by then Black Adam's really causing trouble. He's looking for Billy. He's flipping a car. He's fed up. And so they see what's going on. Freddy explains like, hey, Billy.
It's like Billy's a superhero, guys. Don't worry about it.
We'll catch you up. We'll catch you up on the way there, but let's go find him. And so one, they do need his help because if not, they're going to get hit by a car. And nobody wants that. But also too, that's their new brother. And you can tell that this foster family has made its own family, and they want him to be a part of it. So yeah, they go to look for him to kind of pump him up, get him ready, and that's where he takes him to the Rock of Eternity to get the powers back. And that's cool too because they explain. I think the Mirror explains that as powerful as Shazam can be, he's the strongest living mortal. So
he can still be taken down.
Exactly. And that's good too to add that to a character who's seemingly invincible, because if a character is truly immortal,
he's boring.
Exactly.
The other thing I liked about the family is Mary, that she could hear Francesca. She could hear into the magic a little bit.
That's right. Originally, if I remember right, Mary is Billy's twin sister.
Yeah.
And so I think they're doing a bit of that. But yeah, I think also too to kind of show what's going to happen where he gets a little bit more about Black Adam and his origin story, which is
pretty crazy.
It's really good. Yeah, I think so too. Because, what happens when the powers are in the wrong hands? And we see a child back in Kahndaq, who stumbles upon when the Rock of Eternity was full of wizards.
And I thought that was basically Billy Batson.
That's one good thing. Gary Frank does a lot of good things here, but that in particular is really good where their facial features are the same.
Are the same, yeah.
So yeah, like you said, how does a kid who we know is actually better than Billy in a lot of ways because he's not a prick.
Yeah, he's not.
How did he become Black Adam? And
then we find out.
Did you see that twist coming?
Until I met the uncle and they started having a conversation, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same as Billy. They throw that cutscene in the middle. You see the first half of the story, and then Billy's like, oh, I know what to do to save it. So he goes up there and he's like, I've been through this same stuff. And then Black Adam takes him by the throat and shows him the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm. You see, when I read it at first, I thought Billy was like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk to him so I won't have to fight him because I'm so scared. But you putting it that way actually it makes more sense that Billy did that because
he thinks Black Adam is this kid that's very similar to his situation.
And he wants to save him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually really cool. And when I read that bit, when I read the reveal of it being the uncle, I think maybe what they were trying to do is show, and this is the reason to me why Billy Batson is always a child, in the stories he gets the power of Shazam, is kids go through some bad shit just like adults would, but they're able to
bounce back easier.
Yeah.
And that's what with Darla, like you said, he made her cry earlier, and the day after, like she's like, oh, I'm best friends with you again. And I think that shows an even intensified version of like how the kids work with Billy Batson and him being Shazam.
It plays off this concept of purity and forgiveness, and Shazam is one of the strongest, or arguably to me, Shazam's one of the strongest characters in the DC universe.
He's stronger than Superman.
He's more popular than Superman, if you ask me, in 1940s when he was more popular than Superman. That's not really the point of him, though. Just like the point of Superman's powers and being as strong as he is isn't the point of Superman. It's what does the character mean? And the character of Shazam is purity and doing just a genuinely good thing when bad things happen. And so, yeah, you take the uncle who wasn't even chosen. He was just given the powers to save his life.
To save his life, yeah.
And he killed his own nephew because of that, because he thought his goal was more noble. And that point just kind of really drives Billy to realize why he was chosen and what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And then he gets the courage to take him on again.
It's nice to see, like, hey, we had this kid that's basically Billy from way back when, and now we got him back now to be the character that he was supposed to be from the beginning.
I like that. Yeah, that's really good.
And then we got to see his family, because he's back there. He's getting taken down by Black Adam. He's got his hand over his mouth so he can't say the word. Because Black Adam knows he can't say Shazam.
Can't say Shazam when your mouth is covered. It's not
then-
going to work.
And then Silent Pedro just drives a truck straight into him.
I like Pedro. He's funny.
That was such a good thing with the moose and the truck and everything.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a good little joke.
Some fun bits for sure. Yeah. And
then the line that I mentioned earlier, like the family's what it can be, not what it should be, stuff like that. Like he turns his family into the Shazam family.
I think that's kind of a new concept too, is the ability of
his magic powers, like working,
passing on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a neat little thing to add in, because Shazam as a whole, like the Shazam family is not a new concept necessarily.
No, I've actually heard of it. I didn't know it was going to come up in this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they were going to be his Shazam family.
Yeah, but that ends up being like a huge thing, it turns out, because for Jeff Johns in particular, he thinks the power of Shazam comes from family, comes from love.
Yeah.
And so these people that he just kind of like disregarded from the beginning end up saving his life, and he's able to pass on his powers because of that. And that's really cool. Like, I like each of the designs. I like how they all seem to have different strengths. Like, you know, Eugene can talk to technology, and Pedro's the strongest physically.
Yeah, I did notice that they had different stuff.
Mm-hmm. It seems like
that was neat.
Darla seems to be a bit faster than the rest of them.
Eugene talked to that truck.
He talked to that truck so good. Yeah, I think that's fun, and I think it's what makes this book better in the back half is, you know, besides the whole concept of love and family and this and that, it's how weird it gets.
And then even his like he gives his power to his tiger friend, which that tiger looked fucking tight.
Didn't talk though.
No, it didn't talk.
0 out of 10.
But it was cool looking.
It was cool, yeah. I think that's where this book shines, if at all. Like, it's not a bad book. I know we said that before.
No, it's not bad. It's just the worst one we've done so far.
I think that it just kind of suffers like all origin stories suffer, is you have to get through the meandering stuff to get to the good. And by this point, we've done all that. So yeah, we can see trucks helping out people and weird, like, I know we talked about the sins and how they don't need to be there, but when they take over,
they look super cool.
They look cool, but and also too, they become this weird demon thing at one point
with that nasty Briar guy.
Yeah, with his dumb scarf and overcoat.
It basically looks like your typical like devil monster thing with like a pentagram in the middle and everything like that.
But it's fun to see the rest of the Shazam family flying around and hitting them with lightning and all this and that, and it's cool. And this fight's also interesting because
it's kind of anticlimactic.
That's a good point. See, I like that though.
I did like the way he beat him. He beat him without having to beat him, like physically, I guess is what I'm saying. He beat him more mentally.
I think that's why I find the fight interesting, is because if you look at it, even from the first time they fight,
he's not going to win physically.
Yeah, he doesn't. Well, he doesn't have the experience that Black Adam has with his powers. Even though Black Adam's been sealed away, he still used that power for
centuries.
Yeah, and so obviously, he's not gonna. Even with the rest of them, they're probably not gonna win in a traditional fight. So to show kind of Billy knows that, and also see Billy's got street smarts. He's got the old Philadelphia street smarts in him. So he talks him into changing back
into his old form. He's like, "Let me beat you in a fight fair and square, like man to man. Let's do it."
Yeah,
and for some reason, like he does it. So like. Aging doesn't happen when you're Shazammed.
Yeah, and I knew that was gonna. That's happened before. Like that's how he's beaten Black Adam before. So I knew that was kind of gonna happen. But it is like, I think the point of it is to show how smart Billy can be.
Yeah, how quick on his feet he is.
Yeah, and again, he's a prick. So yeah, he egged him on, and it worked.
Yeah.
And he dies instantly. And that's like. That's all.
It was really cool.
It's a pretty good end to the fight, like considering.
It was anticlimactic, but it made sense with the story.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's happy. He gets some Christmas. Everybody loves Christmas.
Even angry orphan kids from Philadelphia.
And then we get like a cliffhanger into another story, which I'm not really interested in talking about, even though like the character's kind of cool, Mr. Mind.
I like the character Mr. Mind, yeah, because he's just a weird, creepy worm.
It's a whole big thing that we're not going to get into right now. But
I don't know if anyone's going to get into it because I don't know if
I looked it up after I saw it because I was curious, and apparently it's been around since like really early on. And apparently he's the leader of like this little like evil caterpillars, like the leader of like a giant evil universe in the Shazam world, which is neat.
That's fun. Yeah, I like that. It's interesting what they did with Shazam in the New 52 because, I mean, this wasn't even his own book. It was just back matter. Again, if you don't know anything about this character besides, you know, he says the word, he turns into Shazam. If you want to dive in a little bit, say before the film or just in general, like read about him, this isn't the worst thing you could read.
No, it was good. Like as bad as we've talked about it, it's still a good comic.
I think there's better ones. If you just want to read a good Shazam comic that kind of like shows the character as he was before this, there's one I think it's called Shazam and the Monster Men.
Yeah,
it's a similar thing. It's just one trade, and it doesn't have like it wouldn't have these characters obviously because that's where these characters were created. Like, but it does have. I know it has Mary Marvel in it, and it shows a more wholesome, kid-friendly kind of Billy Batson. It's got the uncle, and it's got a talking tiger. So really, what more do you need?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you were gonna read this, it's not the worst thing you could read.
Not too bad.
Not too shabby, Higgins. Just like this podcast we just did.
We did it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like read this, like we said.
You really meant it. I know because you said it twice.
Yeah. Maybe, hey, can you put this in post? Like read it before you listen to us, maybe.
Why would I have to put that in post when you just said it?
But they're gonna listen to this whole thing and hear me say it, and then we already talked about it all. So put it in the top.
Oh, you want me to put it in the beginning?
Put it at the top.
Put it at the tippity top.
No, well, you got it.
Well, can I have my bit that I did in the beginning?
Yeah.
And then we'll do that, because that beard was really itchy.
Yeah.
So I want to...
No, I want all that. I want all that.
Well, here. You have the beard. Oh, wait, that's the hair. You can have the hair. Oh, your glasses fell. It's fine. Oh, he's putting on the hair. Oh, he's taking off his headphones. He's real happy about it. I think it's the other way around, Higgins.
Is it?
Higgins, everyone's gonna hear this, and it's gonna be embarrassing for you.
All right. No, I see the middle part.
Very good. Well, Higgins, we've read the book. We talked about the book. We drank. There's only one more thing we need to do real quick.
We got all those housekeeping things to do.
Higgins, we got to clean up. But before that, we've got to do the thing that you like to do, and that's give this book a rating.
Oh, you're right. And I gotta think of a nice little quip. Okay. Lightning bolt's too easy.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
Okay, that's fine. I am going to give this book 1/2 of Savannah's wonky eye.
1/2.
1/2. I didn't love it, but it's got some good stuff in it.
All right. I feel you. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 7 deadly sins.
The worst characters in this book.
Yeah, 5 out of 7.
No, you stick with that. You stand your ground. That's decent marks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked it enough to not give it a full score.
Is that good?
Yeah. I'm not going to just give it the fact that we're a podcast talking about comics and are supposed to like them.
You still got to earn that spot.
Yeah.
I understand.
If we give a 100% rating to everything, where's our morals at?
They're out the window, Higgins.
Yeah.
And I won't stand for it. But you know what I will stand for?
Tweeting at us?
That's you telling people what they should do after they listen to this.
Yeah. Tweet at us. Tell us what you think. Maybe, well, where's your Twitter at before I say other words?
I figure you would have had this down by now.
Mine's at, oh shoot, I don't even remember my Twitter handle.
I can't even remember his own Twitter.
My Twitter handle is Mike Higgins 93. Mike Higgins 93.
I'm at Snoop_Lich, and I'm also that on Instagram.
I'm J Sturm 93 on Instagram. We put funny pictures on there sometimes. We're doing the best we can, folks. It's been dark and stormy over here as far as the drinks go. We haven't talked about these guys enough. But yeah, tweet at us, tell us what you think. we'd love a tweet. We're dying for one.
I haven't had a tweet in so long.
In years. I love a tweeter.
It's been a dry season for some tweets, I'll tell you that.
And also we're on all the things. The iTunes, the Spotify's, the Stitcher. Snoop knows more.
Higgins, we're on it all.
Yeah, we're on it, most things. And if you're listening to us, do you really need to know what we're on? Because you know what we're on.
They need to weigh their options.
Oh, yeah.
So if they want, they can listen to us, as you said, on Spotify. They can listen to us on Stitcher, iTunes.
That thing.
My calendar just went off. They can't listen to us there, but they can also listen to us on Simplecast that provides this show. Appreciate them.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Google Podcast as well, I believe. It's in the webs. You know,
Yeah.
Find it if you want. Listen to our other episodes. What have we done? We've done this book. We did We Three with Kiker. He's in the background.
There he is.
He's right there.
And that's it. That's it so far.
Mhm.
We'll be back next month.
You did another one.
We did Superman Secret Identity.
Yeah, Superman Secret Identity.
Yeah, we were just young lads when we did that. My beard wasn't even this long.
It wasn't white at all. If you're on the iTunes, because that's the one that has ratings and stuff like that, could you leave us a rating? Tell people what you think of us. Maybe write a review, because that's how other people are gonna hear what we have to say, and we'd like that.
I mean, we'd be fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got drinks, so we really don't need anybody. But
Yeah, we don't need people to hear us, but I mean, if you like us enough, like maybe spread the love.
we would love to have you. Is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, do all those things or none of those things, whatever you feel like doing, whatever you want to do. That's what's important to us. And join us next month. We don't know specifically what we're reading.
We should. Do you want to? Let's look that up real quick. We'll be back, folks.
All right, Higgins, you did your research. You're back. What are we reading for next month's episode?
All right, it's called Godzilla: The Half-Century War. It's a quick read. It's run-of-the-mill art, right up our avenue. You guys can read it. We can read it. We can read it the day before, folks. That's what we do here.
We prepare the day of, so we make sure we have everything we need to talk about. Some people prepare months for their podcast, weeks, years even. We're fine with just a couple hours.
Yeah. But yeah, Godzilla: The Half-Century War. It's by James Stokoe, it looks like. Read it. We're gonna. And then talk about it.
Are you stuccoed to read it?
Yeah, I'm Stokoed to read it.
Very good.
I'm glad you did it. Even if they're not.
Look, if I didn't, someone had to.
Shoot. Shazam? Can that be my sign off this time? Shazam?
Hey, it's not
I'm doing it a question mark. I'm not gonna Shazam now. Like,
we're gonna take a month off so I can explain to you the concept of a sign off.
all right.
I don't think you have it.
All right.
But Higgins, let's let the people go.
Cheers.
That's my sign off. Shut up.
Walla walla bing bang.
You can't take Kiker's guest sign off either.
Dang it.
All right. Oh,
Wink.
God damn it, Higgins. All right, Higgins. Let's let the people go so they can read Godzilla. But until we see them next time, cheers, guys.
I'll think of it. Don't worry.
No, go ahead. It's fine. Take your
Wait.
time.
See you, Steve.
Me?
Yeah, just you.
Not saying bye to anybody else, huh?
No.